When people talk about physical desire, especially from a man's perspective, it's often oversimplified. There's this assumption that it's all about what the eye sees, curves, a certain walk, or a particular outfit. While those things might initially grab attention, what most people don't realize is that for many men, the strongest physical desire doesn't just stem from visual cues, it's emotional first. It's something deeper than a glance or a figure. It's about how a woman makes a man feel in her presence, the energy she brings, the emotional safety she creates, and the connection that ignites something within him that he didn't even know he was craving. Just like women are emotionally wired, even if culture conditions them to hide it more. At the core, attraction that endures and intensifies over time is not purely visual. It's not even primarily physical. A man can admire beauty and still feel nothing deeper. But when he feels emotionally connected, when a woman reaches beyond the surface and touches his spirit, that's when desire becomes something unforgettable. That's when it moves from, she's attractive, to, I can't stop thinking about her. It's the difference between lust and longing. A lot of men feel the strongest physical pull when a woman inspires emotion in them. Not necessarily because she's trying to, but because she's showing up as herself in a way that's real, vulnerable, and magnetic. Maybe it's the way she listens without judgment, the way she genuinely laughs at his jokes, or the way she looks at him like she sees something in him he doesn't always see in himself. That emotional validation, that subtle affirmation, builds a space where desire can thrive. And in that moment, the physical desire isn't just about wanting her body, it's about wanting to be close, to feel her energy, to experience more of who she is. Desire intensifies when there's emotional anticipation. When a man feels emotionally safe and seen, it creates an atmosphere of trust. And in that trust, he's able to let go of the armor he wears in the outside world. That sense of comfort and acceptance activates a deeper attraction. It's not about her saying the perfect thing or doing something extraordinary. It's about her being grounded, being herself, and letting him feel like he can do the same. That emotional grounding sparks chemistry, the kind of chemistry that goes far beyond looks. Often, men don't even realize this is what's happening. They might just say there's something about her, or she drives me crazy in a good way. But if you peel it back, what's really happening is that their emotional brain has been activated. The emotional cues, how a woman makes him feel, how he feels about himself around her, how she listens, how she engages, all of that amplifies his attraction, builds a fire that starts in his heart and translates into a deep, almost urgent desire to be physically close to her. It's also worth mentioning that this kind of desire doesn't come from neediness or emotional dependency. In fact, it often happens when both people are standing strong in their own self-worth. When a woman shows up not needing to impress or perform, but simply willing to connect, to be curious, and to let herself be seen, that emotional openness creates space for attraction to deepen. And for a man, that emotional connection often acts as the spark that turns a simple moment into one charged with passion. Even the smallest interactions can carry weight in this way. A passing touch, a moment of eye contact, a quiet moment sitting next to each other. These seemingly small things can be infused with emotional meaning. When a man has already connected with a woman on a deeper emotional level, even the most innocent gesture can ignite a strong physical desire. It's like the body is simply following the lead of the heart. And while desire sparked by pure looks may fade quickly, the kind that grows from emotional connection tends to intensify. It's sustainable. It keeps pulling a man back, not just because she looks good, but because she feels good to be around. He begins to associate her presence with positive emotion, with excitement, with comfort, with aliveness. That emotional layering is what turns initial attraction into real lasting desire. It's what keeps a man leaning in, wanting more, not just physically, but in every sense of the word. Confidence is one of the most magnetic qualities a woman can embody. And for many men, it's the invisible force that draws them in before a single word is spoken. It's not about arrogance or having all the answers. It's about a deep, quiet knowing of who you are and what you bring to the table. When a woman walks into a room and carries herself with certainty, not because she needs attention, but because she's aligned with her own value, something powerful happens. Men feel it, often before they can even explain it. There's an energetic shift. She doesn't have to announce it. Her confidence speaks in how she moves, how she makes eye contact, how she's at ease in her own skin. And that presence, that internal self-trust, ignites physical desire in a way that beauty alone never could. When a woman is confident, she becomes unpredictable in the best way. Not because she's playing games, but because she's not seeking approval. She doesn't need someone to tell her she's worthy. She already knows. That knowing changes everything. It shifts the dynamic. Instead of trying to win her over, men feel compelled to rise to meet her. That sense of challenge, not in an adversarial way, but in the sense of emotional maturity, creates attraction that feels alive, charged, and exciting. Confidence creates space for real polarity. And polarity, the dance of masculine and feminine energy, is often where the deepest physical desire lives. Men are naturally drawn to what they respect. When a woman respects herself, she naturally invites that same level of respect from others. She doesn't overextend to be liked. She doesn't shrink to make others comfortable. She honors her boundaries, speaks her truth, and carries herself with grace. That kind of woman is unforgettable. She becomes the one he can't stop thinking about, not because she's loud or flashy, but because her energy lingers. It's in the way she doesn't chase. It's in the way she can be both open and self-contained. That balance makes her intriguing, and that intrigue becomes desire. True confidence isn't about performance, it's about authenticity. A woman who is rooted in herself doesn't try to be someone else. She doesn't need to morph into an idea of what a man might want. She knows that the right connection will be drawn to who she truly is, not who she pretends to be. That kind of self-expression is powerful. It's disarming. It allows a man to feel safe dropping his own mask. And in that emotional freedom, a deeper physical chemistry can emerge, one built on mutual respect rather than superficial roles. It's also in the way a confident woman owns her sensuality. She doesn't apologize for her desires, her emotions, or her voice. She knows that her body isn't just an object, it's part of her power. She's not seeking validation for her appearance, yet she takes care of herself because she values her well-being. She wears what makes her feel good, speaks with intention, and holds her space with elegance. That grounded sensuality is irresistible. It's not about flaunting anything, it's about radiating from within. That kind of radiance can turn a simple glance or a passing moment into something unforgettable. For a man, it stirs something primal, a desire to connect, to pursue, to get closer. Confidence also shows up in how a woman handles setbacks or discomfort. She's not immune to fear or insecurity, no one is, but she knows how to navigate those moments without collapsing. She stays present with herself. She doesn't need saving. That kind of emotional resilience is incredibly attractive. Men may not consciously articulate it, but on an instinctive level, they're drawn to a woman who is emotionally self-sufficient. Not distant or detached, but grounded. That stability creates a kind of emotional gravity, and that gravity pulls men in closer. It allows desire to build without pressure because it feels safe, strong, and real. There's also something undeniably magnetic about a woman who celebrates herself and others. Confidence isn't competitive. It doesn't need to tear others down. It shines naturally and uplifts those around her. When a woman is comfortable enough in herself to be generous with her energy, to laugh freely, to appreciate life openly, she becomes a source of light. And that light isn't just beautiful, it's contagious. Men are drawn to that energy because it feels good. And when a man feels good in a woman's presence, when her confidence allows him to also feel confident in himself, the result is physical desire that feels grounded, connected, and deeply alive. There is something undeniably captivating about a woman who is in her feminine energy. Not in a performative or exaggerated way, but in a natural, flowing, authentic rhythm that seems to light up everything around her. Feminine energy and flow is not about being passive or weak. It's about being alive, receptive, expressive, intuitive, and emotionally connected. When a woman is in this space, men feel it on a visceral level. It's not something that can be measured or explained with logic. It's something that's felt. An energy that draws them in without force, like gravity. It's the feeling of warmth, openness, and magnetism that's impossible to ignore. And when a man encounters this energy, it stirs in him a deep physical desire that is both thrilling and grounding at the same time. This energy doesn't require words to be powerful. It's in how she moves, not perfectly, but freely. It's in the way she listens, the way she feels deeply and doesn't apologize for it. It's in her laughter that's unguarded and real, in the way she experiences beauty with awe, and in how she allows life to move through her. When a woman is in flow, she's not trying to control everything. She's not trying to be the loudest or the most put together. She's simply being. And in that being, there's a presence that calls a man closer. It's like she becomes a mirror that invites him to drop out of his head and into his senses. Her energy reminds him of what it means to feel, to breathe, to be human again. What makes this so powerful is that it's not manipulative. She's not using her energy to seduce or play games. She's not trying to be wanted. She just is. And that self-possession, that ease, is rare in a world that constantly tells women they need to be more polished, more perfect, more productive. But when a woman says, through her energy, I am enough exactly as I am, she becomes magnetic. Not because she's doing something extraordinary, but because she's embodying something essential. That essence draws men in, not just physically, but emotionally. They want to be near her, to experience her energy, to feel her presence. And physical desire naturally follows that emotional current. A woman in her feminine energy doesn't need to chase or control. She knows her worth is not based on performance. She can receive, she can trust, she can let go and allow space for connection to unfold. That kind of energy creates a deep polarity with masculine energy, which thrives on direction, structure, and forward movement. When feminine flow meets grounded masculinity, the chemistry becomes electric. It's a dance. One that doesn't require choreography, just attunement. And in that dance, desire grows organically because both energies are fully expressed and fully alive. Feminine energy also embraces emotion without shame. When a woman allows herself to feel, whether it's joy, sadness, excitement, or uncertainty, she becomes a vessel of truth. She's not bottling things up or pretending to be unaffected. She's honest with herself and with others. That vulnerability is not weakness, it's a profound strength, and it creates an emotional intimacy that fuels physical desire. Men are often drawn to women who make them feel something, who awaken emotions they didn't know they needed to feel. A woman in her flow does just that. She stirs the heart as much as the body. This kind of energy also shows up in creativity, in spontaneity, in the willingness to follow intuition rather than overthinking. It's in the way she might dance in the kitchen for no reason, or pause to smell a flower, or tell a story with tears in her eyes because she's not afraid to be moved. These moments, though small, are incredibly powerful. They create a vivid contrast to the constant pressure of logic, planning, and control that many people live under. They offer a breath of fresh air, a moment of stillness, a reminder of something deeper. And that reminder awakens something primal in a man. It invites him to step out of his armor and into presence, to feel, to respond, to connect. The power of feminine energy and flow is that it doesn't try to be anything other than what it is. It trusts its own rhythm. It doesn't demand attention, but it receives it anyway. It doesn't seek validation, but it's deeply seen. And when a man feels that energy, when he sees a woman fully alive, grounded in her essence, unapologetically herself, his physical desire is not just sparked, it's intensified. It becomes not just a reaction to what she looks like, but a response to how she makes him feel. It's the feeling of life moving, of connection deepening, of something real unfolding in the space between them. There is a kind of physical desire that doesn't erupt instantly, but builds gradually with depth and intensity through shared intimacy. It's not driven by appearance or surface level attraction, but by connection. Real, human connection that opens emotional doors and lets two people see each other in a way that goes far beyond the physical. When a man shares intimate moments with a woman, not just sexual, but emotional, vulnerable, meaningful moments, something changes in the way he experiences her. Desire becomes layered. It becomes charged with emotion, memory, and anticipation. He doesn't just want her body, he wants the feeling he has when he's close to her, when he's let into the parts of her that the world rarely sees. Shared intimacy is built in small, often quiet moments. It could be a conversation late at night where guards fall and truths are spoken without fear. It could be a gentle touch during a difficult day, a knowing glance that says, "I see you," or a laugh shared over something no one else would understand. These moments may seem ordinary, but they create a private world between two people, a world where trust grows, where emotional safety is felt, and where attraction moves from curiosity to craving. When a man feels that emotional access, when he's been invited into that sacred space of real intimacy, his desire intensifies. And it's no longer just about physical satisfaction, it becomes about closeness, about experiencing more of her, about protecting and honoring the bond they've begun to build. This craving isn't about control or possession, it's about connection. It's about the way shared vulnerability makes physical touch feel electric, how conversation can become foreplay, how the emotional atmosphere between two people can charge even the smallest gesture with meaning. A simple brush of the hand, a moment of eye contact, or a whispered word can send waves through a man's body when that touch is grounded in emotional truth. The body responds more intensely when the heart is involved. That's the secret behind the strongest desire. It's not just chemistry, it's closeness. There's a difference between seeing someone and truly knowing them. When a man gets to know a woman on an intimate level, when she shares her thoughts, her fears, her dreams, her scars, he starts to connect with her essence. That emotional access opens doors to physical longing that's far deeper than visual attraction. She becomes a part of his inner world. He starts thinking about her voice, her scent, her presence, not just because she's beautiful, but because being close to her feels like coming home. That familiarity, that sense of emotional closeness doesn't diminish desire, it heightens it. It makes every touch more meaningful, every kiss more potent, because it's layered with trust and history. Shared intimacy also allows a man to reveal his own vulnerabilities, and when that happens, something powerful shifts. When he feels like he can be seen without shame, when he can show his fears, his failures, his tenderness, and still be received with warmth, that emotional bond is formed. That emotional bond feeds physical desire in a way that nothing else can. He begins to crave not just her body, but her presence. He wants to be near her because her presence reminds him of who he is at his most real. That craving is emotional at its core, but manifests physically in the way he wants to hold her, touch her, kiss her. It's a full body response to emotional intimacy. This kind of desire doesn't require constant stimulation or external excitement. It lives in the quiet moments, in shared routines, in the silence that isn't awkward. It grows stronger with consistency, with emotional presence, with the shared knowing that there is something sacred in the space they've created together. It becomes about more than attraction. It becomes about wanting to protect, nurture, and explore that connection. He doesn't just want her in the moment. He wants the future moments too. He wants to be the one she turns to, the one who continues to earn her trust, the one who gets to see the parts of her no one else sees. And because physical desire rooted in shared intimacy is emotional, it tends to last. It doesn't fade as quickly because it's not dependent on novelty or perfection. It thrives on emotional depth, and emotional depth is renewable. It evolves, it grows. Every new layer of intimacy deepens the craving. Every time she opens up a little more, every time he feels trusted, every time they move through something together, whether joyful or challenging, the physical connection becomes richer. It's no longer about performance or fantasy. It's about presence. It's about the realness of two people who have seen each other and still choose to stay, still choose to touch, still choose to want. So there is a quiet but undeniable power in presence, a kind of strength that doesn't shout, doesn't rush, and doesn't try to prove anything. Presence is what happens when someone is fully there, emotionally, mentally, physically, without distraction, without an agenda, and without trying to impress. For a man, a woman's presence can create more desire than anything she could say or do to perform. It's not about being perfect or putting on a show. It's about her ability to be rooted in the moment, connected to herself, and connected to what's real. When she isn't trying to entertain, fix, or seek approval, and instead simply allows herself to be fully there as she is, her presence becomes magnetic. It's a rare kind of authenticity, and in that authenticity, men find a depth of attraction that performance alone could never reach. When a woman is in performance mode, even if she looks amazing or says all the right things, something can feel off. The energy feels slightly disconnected, like she's one step removed from the moment. Men may notice the effort, but they don't feel fully connected to her. Performance creates pressure. The pressure to keep up, to maintain an image, to impress or entertain. That pressure becomes a barrier to true intimacy. But presence is different. Presence invites stillness. It invites connection. It allows room for silence, for listening, for authentic emotion to emerge without needing to fill every space with action or words. And when a woman shows up in this way, it gives a man permission to drop his own mask too. The result is something raw, unfiltered, and deeply attractive. Desire thrives in that kind of space, a space where both people are grounded, open, and tuned into each other. When a woman is present, she communicates without trying. Her eyes say more than her words. Her energy speaks louder than any script. A simple glance, a soft touch, or even the way she breathes can become incredibly intimate when it comes from a grounded place. That intimacy doesn't require effort. It arises naturally because there's no distance to close, no role to play. It's just two people fully aware of each other, experiencing the same moment. And in that mutual presence, desire grows not from fantasy, but from truth. There's also something deeply sensual about presence. When a woman isn't rushing to the next thing, when she's fully immersed in what she's doing, whether it's sipping tea, walking through a room, or having a conversation, she becomes more alluring. Her energy isn't scattered, it's focused. That focus makes everything feel more alive. For a man, being in the presence of a woman who moves slowly, breathes deeply, and feels fully is incredibly attractive. It draws him out of his own distractions and pulls him into the now. It's not about what she looks like or how much she says. It's about the richness of her attention and the grounded way she holds herself in space. Presence also makes room for emotional safety, and that safety is the foundation for deep physical craving. When a man senses that he can be himself, that he doesn't need to impress or pretend, it frees him to feel more. He becomes more attuned to the moment, more engaged in the connection, and more likely to experience desire that goes beyond surface attraction. A woman's presence says, "I see you. I'm here. You don't have to be anything other than who you are." That message opens him up emotionally, and emotional openness heightens physical sensitivity. Every touch, every word, every moment becomes amplified because it's real, because it's rooted in the present instead of expectation. The power of presence is also in what it doesn't need. It doesn't need validation, applause, or constant reassurance. It knows its own worth, and that quiet confidence is intoxicating. A woman who trusts herself enough to simply be, without over-explaining or doing or overthinking, radiates a kind of strength that doesn't need to be loud to be felt. That kind of presence creates polarity. It invites the masculine to lead, not because she's incapable, but because she creates space for him to step in. That space isn't passive, it's intentional. It's active receptivity. And that balance, that tension, becomes the ground where passion is ignited. In the end, presence over performance is about intimacy over image. It's about showing up, not showing off. It's about choosing to be real instead of rehearsed. And it's in that realness, the unguarded, unfiltered, unapologetic now, that physical desire reaches its most powerful form, not because of anything she's trying to be, but because of everything she already is.